We are taught from a young age that scoring over 130 on an IQ test means you have essentially won a biological lottery, guaranteeing an easy, successful, and happy life. Society reinforces this myth everywhere we look. We celebrate the brilliant child prodigy, the quiet tech billionaire, and the visionary inventor who effortlessly rises to the top. But for the top 2%, extreme intelligence rarely feels like a gift. Instead, it feels like an inescapable, relentless machine. While most people seem to move through their days with a comfortable, predictable rhythm, the highly gifted mind is trapped in a silent inner storm. It constantly overanalyzes conversations, replays past interactions, and questions the deeper meaning behind every experience. A high IQ reshapes how the mind interacts with the world. For many, this biological advantage functions as a cage of isolation. This brings us to the first major contradiction of the high IQ mind, the tension between brilliant insight and crippling inaction. Researchers call this the need for cognition. It is a deep, biological drive that forces the brain to endlessly deconstruct conversations, past events, and abstract ideas, even when the person is supposed to be resting. This drive creates a sharp awareness of things others miss. The individual is forced to notice unspoken social contradictions, hidden motives, and systemic flaws that most people manage to filter out. As their brain simulates endless future possibilities and identifies every potential risk, it creates a massive cognitive bottleneck. This state is known as analysis paralysis. When the brain sees entirely too many variables and outcomes, making even the most basic, everyday decisions becomes overwhelming. The same internal motor that allows a gifted mind to vividly deconstruct the universe also makes it nearly impossible for them to simply exist peacefully in the present moment. That constant mental friction leads directly to a second paradox, the devastating gap between a person's immense imagined potential and their inevitable psychological burnout. Psychologist Kazimierz Dombrowski found that highly intelligent people possess overexcitabilities. Their nervous systems process emotions and sensory input with an intensity that can feel overwhelming compared to the average baseline. This amplified emotional and imaginative state fuels an extreme form of perfectionism. When they start a new project or enter a relationship, they can vividly visualize the flawless, optimal outcome in their minds. But that pristine internal vision rarely survives contact with the clumsy, imperfect reality of how things actually unfold in the real world. The constant shortfall between the ideal and the real breeds a specific type of exhaustion known as gifted burnout. It feeds a quiet, persistent anxiety that they are wasting their own potential. Their heightened processing power becomes a psychological trap. It makes them hyper-aware of every perceived personal failure, ensuring they almost never feel truly adequate, regardless of what they achieve. This leads to the final and perhaps most painful paradox, how an intense desire for deeper purpose usually results in severe social disconnection. Psychologists observe a phenomenon called the communication gap. This happens when two people try to connect, but they have vastly different cognitive processing speeds and conversational interests. While the high IQ mind craves philosophical inquiry and complex discussions about human behavior, everyday society bonds primarily over surface-level small talk. To survive socially, highly intelligent people develop a habit called masking. This is the exhausting process where they deliberately simplify their language and suppress their complex thoughts just to blend in. This chronic masking often triggers existential depression, leaving them feeling like an alien observer instead of an active participant. It is a tragic irony. The more they understand about the mechanics of human existence, the harder it becomes to feel any genuine sense of belonging among actual humans. Living with extraordinary intelligence means managing these contradictions. You understand the structural flaws of the world, but feel powerless to fix them. You experience complex emotional worlds, but lack the everyday vocabulary to share them. Does having an extremely active, analytical brain mean you are handed a lifelong sentence to misery? The suffering often stems from a lack of outlet for this mental energy. When an active mind is forced into a passive environment, the internal motor turns inward, transforming a capability into a source of distress. The most effective antidote is finding an intellectual tribe. They need a physical or digital space where high-level cognitive processing is the expected baseline, allowing that internal motor to finally run in gear. When a high IQ individual finally enters that space, they can drop the mask. The immense relief comes from connecting with minds operating on the exact same wavelength, where ideas build naturally upon each other. When removed from isolation, the relentless engine of the gifted mind ceases to be a cage. It transforms into what it was always meant to be, a vital instrument for curiosity, connection, and human progress.